My first win, it's for cooling tower parts, $42,000 in parts, and I added a 15% margin. I know nothing about cooling towers. Do it. Do it wrong. Do it badly, but do it. I had a second win through a state contract. It's for trapping wild pigs. That'll net me about a 50% margin with somebody else doing the work.
Whoa. You started in February of this year?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm going to give you one of your weirdest things, one of these crazy little facts.
Okay.
I own a haunted hospital in New York that I bought at a government auction. And not 3 hours after they finalized the purchase of that, I had people finding me on the internet, figuring out that I was the winning bidder, and it hadn't even been posted yet.
I
get it.
I love it. And this is a great opening to talking about government contracting. I cannot say I've never met anyone who bought a haunted hospital. So how did you get into government contracting?
I'm a delayed entry, for lack of better words. I've known about it for a very long time. And I used to look at stuff and think I should do that. My history is in tech support, crisis management. I've worked for both startups and big companies. And so I've dealt with a lot of government type contracts and provided services and support to the government. And told myself plenty of times, I should be out there the one doing this and making the money, not instead of doing it for my company. Earlier this year, the end of January, I got notified I was being laid off in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So on January 29th, I found out I'm being laid off. February 7th, I started my new company specifically to do government contracting. I'd been following you for a while, probably for 4 or 5 months before that. I've watched every video you put out in at least the last 2 years. And so I decided I'll start looking at the things I know how to do: training, program management, project management, and just started diving in. I had some friends that were like, hey, do you want to help me with my company? And so I've helped other people write some of their bids, give them the information they need. And then I dove into it, said, this is what I'm going to do as well. I have been fortunate. In the meantime, I did pick up another corporate job. So I have something going in the background. So I work, my day there. And then as soon as my day there is done, I'm on Sam.Gov and pulling up all of the bids I want to look at for today. And I do that every day.
And what do you lean into? What is like that area you're like this? I mean, you talked about what you know, and I love that you focus in on the areas that you know, but what are you looking at daily? What type of opportunities?
I go really wide. I do one of the things you say not to do. I overwhelm myself. I look at every bid open in the last, or every solicitation open in the last 24 hours. And right now for this quarter, that's about 1,000 solicitations a day. And I literally just sit and pop through page. I'll get to my win here later, but I try to skip over a lot of the small parts things. I look for services that match what I do, training, development, and then where my actual particular focus is right now. I'm also a former franchise owner for a fitness franchise. I'm certified as a coach in about 5 different sports. I raised and coached kids for years and years. And so fitness is a passion, and I'm a veteran of 2 different branches of the military. And so I focus a lot there on anything that I do that's going to help veterans. So right now, my big focus, if it says it's from the VA, I'm looking at it. And then in particular, if there's anything out there that says fitness, I'm looking at it. Those are the ones where they're going to grab my attention immediately. I pull them open. I leave a tab open. I think I looked right before this. I have 12 open bids on the federal side that I want to look at, 5 open for the state of Texas, and then 1 multiple award schedule that I want to try to get on.
Oh, good. I love that. And I love the fitness one. We have an exercise physiologist, but I saw one recently where they want a bunch of fitness instructors. And I thought, that's beautiful. And I love that you're leaning into the VA, and thank you for your service, because that is where all vets should spend 1,000% of time on the VA. Hands down, because I can't bid on the things of the VA.
Well, now my first win was to the VA.
Well, we got to learn more about this. What was that first win for?
And it was what I just said I don't do. It's parts. My first win was to a VA hospital here in the Dallas area. Mm-hmm. And it's for cooling tower parts, which are HVAC, but outside giant cooling towers. I know nothing about cooling towers, nothing about HVAC. I am construction savvy. That was one of my jobs in the military, so I understand a lot of that. But I was like, okay, I know this location. I have to bid on this. And I said, because it's local, I could drive there in an hour. I'm going to find out everything I can about it. And started doing researching for what they had and found out there's only one distributor in the state of Texas that can offer the parts they need. And I was like, well, this seems just simple. I'll reach out, contact them. And I sent them an email, fairly open-ended with, hey, I need pricing on these parts. And that's all I said. An hour later, the guy sends me back a full quote and tells me that it's for this VA hospital at this location. And here's not just your parts, but the actual quantities they need as well.
Wow.
And I was like, so I take it I'm not the first person to reach out. He goes, nope, you're the fifth one today. And so I knew there was a lot of competition as well. But I followed your advice. I wrote up and got away from some of the things I used to do earlier. I used to focus on being a veteran. Instead, I focused on the proposal and what they asked for. They wanted it in 100 days delivered. And that was their thing. We have to have these parts. It's important. We need it in 100 days. The vendor told me they could do it in 1 to 2 weeks. I told the government I could do it in 2 to 3 weeks. Padded my time a little bit. They wanted a firm price, gave firm price. They wanted shipping. I gave them shipping. They wanted it delivered on specific dates. I agreed to that. All of those things. And man, the day of the award, it's one of the weird ones. On the day of the award, they came back and said, hey, James, I just want to let you know, I've selected you. The contracting officer will be reaching out. And I was like, when? I got my score, it's that first one. It's it felt fantastic. And it took probably a week or more before they actually delivered the paperwork from their side to me. And, me and the distributor had been talking, had it all. The moment I got it, I said, okay, it's confirmed now. Let's do this. It took him 3 or 4 days of us back and forth. He goes, okay, now I need this paperwork from you to set you up as the customer. I said, okay, we get that. And from the day I signed that with them, with the distributor, I think that was on like Wednesday. They delivered the parts the next Tuesday.
Wow.
So the government wanted it 100 days and I had to deliver it under 10.
That's amazing.
It was fantastic. And like I said, it had next to nothing to do with me.
That's not true. It had everything to do with you because you went after something that is local. You felt comfortable with listening to intuition. You built rapport and you did something to stand out. You didn't say, oh yeah, I'm going to do 100 days like everybody else. You're like, no, it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks. Those are the things that really put you past everybody else. And then to deliver it before 10 days is phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Well, and I talked to the site contact, and it's not even his normal job to order those parts. And he, and this all happened in the last couple of weeks. He's been asking the government for these parts since March. So they're as slow on their end as we think they are after we've won. And so being able to give a date, he said, was one of the biggest things I could have done. The other is I asked the distributor to give me a letter saying I'm an authorized customer of theirs. And I delivered that as part of my proposal. He told me those 2 things made me stand out compared to others. I also found out I was not the lowest bidder. So it was lowest price, technically acceptable. And he told me one of the bidders was so low that it couldn't even have been for the parts. He couldn't have paid for the parts had he wanted. It was like their quantities had to be wrong or something. In the end, it was almost $42,000 in parts, and I added a 15% margin.
Well, that's insane.
For what cost me 3 phone calls and 10 emails or something, the hardest part of that whole contract was the day before it was due, the contracting officer reached out, said, hey, we made a mistake. We put the wrong part numbers on the solicitation.
Oh, no.
And I was fortunate. I had already talked to the guy. He goes, hey, just so you know, he goes, I think what they have on there is wrong. Now, here's what I'm quoting you. And it was literally some of the digits were off of, they were O's instead of zeros. One of the things. So the partner, the distributor, knows that site so well because they've done business with the past. He's like, I know what they want. And so I got to tell the contract officer, hey, no problem. The quote I gave you is still good. I quoted you what you wanted, not what was in your paperwork, because I worked with them and I knew what they wanted. I later found out as well, it was one of those that when you think about how does the government buy, how much do they know they should pay for it? When I talked to the site contact, he goes, I have the same price quote you do from that distributor. He goes, I know exactly how much this costs. He says, how much it costs depends on how we have to procure it. If it had been over a certain amount, we wouldn't have been able to do it this quarter. I had to wait till next year. He says, so I have the exact same price quote you do. He goes, because I've done business with them for years. And like I said, if you'd asked me when I first started doing this or when I was helping other customers doing it, other companies do it, we were trying to hit home runs. I had added another $50,000 to that. I was doing all the dumb things you shouldn't do. I was like, yeah, I could do this one job and retire. No, I figured out that doesn't work. And so I've probably bid on 30 to 40 jobs this year. And that's my first win. And I have some more that I probably still have an okay chance of winning, that I know I'm at least competitive because of my pricing. And I've bid on other things that are huge. I've bid on something for the state of Texas that would be a $185 million contract.
Woo, I love
And it was basically a sources sought. We're looking for somebody to manage this ranch that the state of Texas decided to buy. That's 300,000 acres. And I have family that shows and breeds cows. So I know cattle and I know people that could do the work. And it was one of those that was, for me, that was a quick, I could call one family member and get all my pricing that I need for this. And I was partially right. I got all the stuff on the cattle side, but it included building runways and things. By the time I was done with the proposal, it included what things we needed to build on the site to make it a site. There's so many different things to do to make this ranch viable for the state of Texas so that it doesn't cost them money.
And I love this, that you have changed the mindset from I'm trying to bid and get rich to like this business shift, and that you're going after a wide variety, because at the end of the day, they just want to have that trust. They want that trust. And so it's great that you're going after them, because, who else would go after like the cattle? Maybe there's a company that specializes in it, but maybe they're too high, or maybe they know of them and they don't want to do work with them. And maybe they're open to taking a chance. So it's beautiful that you're doing this. Love, love, love this. And, I'm curious, with your win, how did you work out payment? Did they offer funding? Did they do net 30? Did you use a credit card? How did that work?
The parts distributor gave me net 30. The government's offering to pay it in net 30 as well. But I bid within my means. I had that money set aside, so I knew that I would be safe. I bid on some others that I would have to figure it out if I want. But at the same time, I'm willing to take that chance.
That's a good chance to take. It's a very, very good chance to take.
Yeah.
And I got to know, because at the beginning, you talked about this haunted hospital. I understand that, it may seem like a jump, but I got to know. Please talk to us about this haunted hospital situation.
I saw a news article flash about this haunted hospital for sale. And I thought, as a joke, I'm going to click on this and go look at it. And it was just because it was literally a news flash on my screen, and I clicked on it and followed it to a major news site, then went to the auction site and started looking at it. And it's in Saratoga County in New York. And it's a 100-plus-year-old hospital. It's old, it's decayed, parts of it fallen apart, but it was used to treat tuberculosis back when they thought good, clean mountain air would actually cure tuberculosis. By the way, it doesn't. And so it's unfortunately got a lot of history to it, and a lot of people passed there over the years. And it has a huge history. And most of this I didn't know at the time. I liked it because it has 17 acres. It has a house on it. And it has this hospital, by the way, which is over 50,000 square feet. And so I was buying it because the architecture, the location, thought of it in my head, back in my head, kind of hey, this could be a retirement type place, someplace to visit during when it's hot in Texas. And like I said, I won the bid. And about within the next couple of hours, somebody reached out to me and says, you have no idea what you won if that's all you know about it. And told me that people have been going there for 50 years and doing, kids use it as a hangout to go do things kids do. But that people go there, and I swear there's ghosts, and there are documented stories where people have been chased off by a caretaker that passed away many years ago. And so I partnered with a guy named Steve Brott, who runs a company called Haunted Nights. He does haunted tours at different locations around the country. And so he literally runs tours of my haunted hospital on a regular basis, sells tickets through his company, takes them on a tour, and I get a small piece of the action for being the owner. So I took something that was a good idea. We turned it into a business idea.
I love this because it shows you how you can monetize from a government auction.
Yeah.
Because this was a government auction. This wasn't just like somebody.
It was a tax foreclosure. Yeah.
Yeah, tax foreclosure. That's connected to the government, y'all. So this is really cool because like GSA has a bunch of things that they auction off. You have the tax. Every state and county is a little different, but I love this. And I love that you have the tours there. I think that's so amazing.
Well, it is fun, and I laugh because it really does. I get reach outs for people that that find me from a news article. Because there were I did some interviews with the newspaper there, and then we actually filmed one of the TV shows for paranormal filmed there. So Destination Fear, which is a show about a guy and his sister and their best friend. They go out and they right at evening and they explore a little bit, and then for the night they all separate and go sleep in different parts of it alone. And that's their thing. And they stay the night, and then the next day they leave. And then we were like the second half of their season, and we were the first location that they refused to sleep alone. They have video that there's somewhere on their YouTube channel, the whole thing. It's the Saratoga County Homestead, but it's out there, and they have something caught on film. And because of that, they refused to sleep alone. They all stayed together that night, and we were the first place they had ever had to do that. So,
I mean, I love those kind of stories, but I'm scared.
By the way, I also told my wife I bought that after I bought it.
Okay, well, that's for a different type of interview, but I love this, though. I love the variety because it really shows you that we all get to make our paths. Yes. In government contracting. We all get to make our paths. So for the new person, the person who's like you, hey, I know about it, I can be doing this, where should they focus?
I'm going to give 3 things that are my top 3. 1, props to you. Because I got my book and I've read it more than once, and I've shared it with a friend so that they would have it. The next I do is they need to watch videos. They need to watch your videos. They need to join the Facebook group. And there's a lot of people that join and start asking questions, and you can tell they haven't watched the videos yet. Yeah. Spend some time watching the videos because you answer most of my questions. Sometimes after I've done it badly, then I find the right video. It's a fantastic beginner's resource between just watching your YouTube channel or going into the Facebook group and asking questions. The biggest thing I'll have to say with anybody is quit thinking about it and do it. We see a lot of people, analysis paralysis. We get in and we're thinking about it. It's so overwhelming. Do it. Do it wrong. Do it badly, but do it. I've submitted some that I know by the time looking back now, I'm like, wow, that was a horrible submission. I mean, the only thing that if I were the person on the other end, the only thing that would matter that I thought was well done was the price. I was like, I focused too much on myself. I focused too much on being service disabled veteran. I focused on the wrong things instead of going on the 5 things that they're grading the proposals on. Instead of proposing the time, the effort, or the things, what the benefits to them were, I proposed how great I was. And like I said, it was a learning curve for me because I did it in such a way, but it's still worth it. Now when I look back, I'm like, at least I got that mistake out of the way. And the bigger pieces, there's no penalty for doing it wrong or badly. If you get in a hurry to get your first submission in, all you got is experience. They don't call you and say, "Are you an idiot?" There's nothing wrong. At least one of mine, they should have. They've been like, "Are you sure you submitted to the right solicitation?" But there's no penalty. They don't knock you off for the next business because you look silly this time around. Now, doing it right the first time is obviously going to be much better. But I would tell everybody, start. Pick any solicitation. If it's something pick something from your background, pick something you have an interest in, especially if it's something you can do on your own with just finding parts in place. The hardest part for me, I think, echoes a lot of other people, which is finding subcontractors. If there's other work that needs to be done that I can't do myself, it's a lot of effort. And some of the subcontractors are like, listen, you're the 20th person to call me on this. And I'm like, well, good. You should have that price ready for me, And some of them think that's funny, and some of them don't think that's funny at all. You got to get over fear. You got to be willing to call people, ask questions. You can do a lot of this in email, but email is not the best way to make relationships. And I will follow up with an email. I may send an email first saying I'm going to call. I may ask for some pricing. If it's a parts place, ask for some pricing and then get them to call me so we can talk. But the number one thing for somebody is pick a solicitation of any kind and say, I'm going to write a proposal for this. And if the first one you're afraid to submit it, great. Don't submit it, but write the proposal. Take the whole thing, tear it apart like you're going to do it, write it, and ask somebody else to take a look at it. There's no harm. And I would still submit it personally. Like I said, I had a second win, but that was through a state contract.
Yeah.
And that state contract is for trapping wild pigs.
Okay. Wait a minute. I'm processing the haunted hospital.
Yes.
The cooling, the training, the ranch with the landing pad and takeoff. And okay, so we got some pigs, some hogs. Tell me, where is this Texas?
This is in Texas.
Okay,
The state of Texas has a ton of feral hogs. It's a really bad problem here, as a lot of the southern states experience. And so a state-run hospital that's on a 600-acre campus out in East Texas is having problems with hogs tearing up the land because they will clear out and tear up the yard, the lawn, the gardens, everything. And they can do, 20 acres a night they can tear up. And so they proposed it. Now, this happens to be an area I know a little something about, but only because of government contracting. When I first started in February, I started my company and I started looking at federal, state, and then my local cities. And one of my local...
Well, I normally, listen, I know people are going to be like, what, Kizzy, what are you doing? Whoa. You started in February of this year?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. So February of this year.
February 7th, I started my company.
In less than 6 months, you won too.
In 60 days, 75 days, something like that later, I got my service disabled veteran certification.
Oh my gosh.
I got my hub certification from the state of Texas and service disabled from the state of Texas. And at the end of June, I found out I had won my first federal award.
Okay. I couldn't hold back. I know. Keep going. I just
the same way.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute, this year. Okay, go ahead. You know about this because of your background. Okay.
Well, and his background from starting this. In February or March, one of my local cities posted a bid for trapping pigs. I don't know and I was sitting with a friend and we were talking about bids, and I'm trying to get him to start doing this with me because he already owns a successful company doing roofing and construction type stuff. And we're bidding to that. And he saw the bid for trapping pigs. He said, we should do that. I was like, okay, when I was a kid, sure. But now he's like, no. He goes, me and my brother have done this for 20 years on the side. And we talked through it. And okay, I'm going to start. I'm going to put out a bid to trap pigs for one of my local cities. And it was pigs and beavers. And what's funny is I asked some questions back to the city of that caused them to pull that solicitation down. Because they had been trapping pigs for years. And so there was an incumbent there, but they had never done the beavers in the park now. And we got a lake local. And so the beavers in the creeks and streams are damming things up and causing damage. And they wanted you to live capture every beaver and remove them to someplace else. Unfortunately, most beaver trapping results in a beaver that gets drowned underwater. So it's terrible. But I responded back to them and said, I don't think what you're asking is technically feasible. I will bid it for what you want, but I don't know that that's how it's going to work out just because of the way nature works. And they were like, oh gosh, we don't know what to do about that. And they pulled the bid and said, we can't advertise for that. And so they pulled the bid. But by that time, I'd already spent weeks getting ready to do everything for trapping pigs. I actually own a giant corral that you can put in place with cameras to monitor it and drop the gate remotely now. I was that prepared. I dove in and said, I'm going to win this.
Oh my gosh.
And so doing the one in East Texas turned out to be really easy because I'm already ready. But as silly as that sounds,
not silly.
The city of Dallas has a $750,000 contract for trapping pigs. It's a 5-year contract, so the guy's making I think $150-something thousand a year. The weird part is in his bids, he's had it now for 2 award cycles for going on 10 years. He's $1 million cheaper than the number 2 person every time. So other companies bid on it and they bid their normal price and he's underbidding them significantly. And there's some reasons to that I understand. Doesn't need to be discussed. But I was like, wow. And not long after that, the USDA posted they wanted to buy so many hundreds of pig trapping cages. I mean, and so it kind of dominoes. You find an area that not a lot of people do stuff and it's something you can bid on. There's all kinds of animal related bids. And like I said, I'm good with animals. I can go do those things. I mean, there are people right now being paid to drop flies in Texas.
And the thing is, this isn't complex. Like,
nope.
We need to rewire this or ship this thing to Cairo. And maybe you're a little leery, you being, the viewer, but this is something where there are people in companies who specialize in this that you can easily partner with or subcontract. Where we know flies, we know pigs, I know catching of different feral pigs and hogs from Florida. I've seen DA contracts. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and most people would scoff and not go after it. And these are the ones to go after. I mean, goodness, to be $1 million lower, they're going to keep going with this person every single time. And then who knows, maybe that person's bidding on stuff in Arkansas or Nebraska. Who knows?
Exactly. And, and so I want a contract there that'll net me about a 50% margin. And with somebody else doing the work. And the one that's local, I could either do, if I bid on the one for the city of Denton, if I were to win that, I could either do it myself or I could contract it out to somebody else. I have somebody that's already interested in doing it, because that's the other thing I'll tell somebody new is talk about it. Talk about what you want to do. Success breeds success. When you start talking about the business you want to do, you'll find out how many people you know in your tight circle that are doing a side gig that you didn't know about. And I sit at a little nutrition shop in the mornings and have a protein shake, being there on my computer doing something. Somebody asks, what are you doing? And what are you working on? You do this. And you find out a guy that owns a business has 3 side gigs to go with his business because his goal is to retire in 5 years. And he wants to have all those things with somebody else running them in 5 years. You talk to this guy and all of a sudden you find out, well, this guy, he used to work in construction and you've got a subcontractor you didn't know you had because he's like me. I got a corporate job. I'm in a cybersecurity company, and the next guy, he works for an IT company, but you didn't know he also has a pest control license, and people everywhere are looking for something different to do. And I said, that's the other one with newbies. Talking about with family is hard. Family always tries to doubt first, but talking about with friends or even strangers is a great way to meet people.
It sure is. Oh my goodness, James, this has been amazing. This is amazing in that I love the profit margin. I love the technique to meet people, and I love the mindset and the manifesting. Does success breed success?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Well, then it gets bigger in a hurry than you can expect. I'll even share. I don't know when this will get posted. I have a bid I'm working on that's due next Monday. It's for fitness. It is for the VA, and I responded to their original sources sought 2 or 3 months ago. They wanted an online platform to provide yoga, Tai Chi, meditation, self-affirmation, all the mental wellness side mostly. And I'm becoming a reseller for a company that does that. And I'm becoming a reseller because of that bid. And they stated it's going to be for their staff and some veterans between 1,000 and 5,000 people. It's a software license. You only got to add a couple pennies to things when there's 5,000 or something. And that sounded great right up to the moment when they opened the actual solicitation. It's for 265,000 people that has to be provided now. Now think what a couple pennies does for every software license.
Is that a month or a year?
It's it'll be a monthly subscription fee given to them. I think they're asking for it in an annual price.
265,000 users.
265,000 users on a monthly
just
software.
Time 200. I got it. I had to go.
Yeah, exactly. Do it times 3 cents.
Oh, I was doing it by $10, but hold on. I got 265,000 times 0.03. I mean, still. And
that's exactly my point is if I added 3 cents to the company's price, I could make $8,000 a month for doing nothing but sending a bill.
Right. But even that, say 250,000. Okay. Let's say you went wild and you added $5 because remember when Netflix went up recently, it wasn't by a penny. It wasn't $1. It was multiple dollars. I'm just saying, hold on. Did I multiply that right?
Yes, you probably did.
By $5. So even y'all, $1 is 250,000.
Yes. But by the way, that would be $1 a month.
I know. That's what I'm getting at. And I want everyone to be aware of that. It is that simple.
Yes.
It's doing the work of reaching out. It's not you rebuilding. It's you reaching out because there are tons of platforms.
Yep.
And I know of a gentleman who has a Spanish speaking channel and he basically resells these similar platforms, and he got permission, and apparently they have a Spanish speaking version of whatever it is that he's reselling. But it's as simple as that. Pretty much everything out there is a resell.
Yes.
You got Apple reseller, Apple approved vendor to fix your stuff. You have resellers all of the time. Come buy my thing. Oh, I have a connection to this and this and this. It's basically like you are an approved reseller. Isn't that Walmart? all of the products there, that means they've been approved to sell them. Walmart's approved to offer them.
I will tell you, it was the thing my wife took the hardest. My wife's a nurse, so she's got her career and mindset are completely different. She's like, you're crazy. But she's like, what do you mean they're going to buy from you? Why would they buy the cooling tower parts? Why do they buy AC stuff from you? Because she didn't understand government procurement. But I'm like, you don't understand. I mean, I've bid on providing Garmin watches to the government. I'm a Garmin user. I'm a runner and I do races and stuff. So I understand that. I know what it costs. And they want them for pilots. And so when they buy them 30 and 40 at a time. Okay. Amazing. Why shouldn't they buy those from me? If they can't buy them from Garmin Direct, why shouldn't they buy those from me? Is kind of how I approach it.
I mean, just the margin of $7,900 a month from 3 cents.
Yes.
I mean, that alone, I mean, literally, even if you added $1, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. It's like,
absolutely.
I mean, because it could be, I'm just going back to this one. This one is so magical because there's so many ways you could slice it depending. You could take this and tell them, hey, if you do annual, it's this amount, which may even give you a bigger profit depending on your relationship with them. So I want people to understand that it's more than just these are the 3 steps. There's also creativity you can add in to increase your profit, increase your margin to go after this. Because when it comes to state, local, and federal, yeah, there may be times that legally they might be able to go to the person, but chances are 95% of the times they can't. And that's where we come in because we make it easy. And you have these organizations that are over here working on all these other things and may not want to be bothered. So I love this. We're going to do a part 2 because I got to find out. About this. My mind is blown.
Well, and here's the even better part of that one is when that one released, again, for 1,000, the source is sought for 1,000 to 5,000 people. There's a second VA office asking for 1,000 to 5,000 people for an online fitness platform, but they want the exercise side, the physical side versus the mental side.
Okay.
And so, my goal is, I want that one too. But I've also decided, hey, I'm going full on. I'm going to market to the VA. And so I've been working, again, taking a lot of your advice of building the relationships is I'm reaching out. I'm doing every VA event that they do, every SBA event that's got anything close to the veterans, to talk to and listen to their contracting officers and get my name in front of them. I respond to every source is sought. I went out to the same place I sold the cooling parts. I went out because they were doing a tree services bid because they got hit, not really by a tornado, but they got hit by high winds from a nearby tornado. And so they have like 100 trees down on a 60-acre campus, and there's broken branches and all the trees that are still existing. I've never worked on that kind of scale for trees, but I decided I'll go out there. I went there and there were 12 companies that were tree companies. And so I was like, all I could do is bid and then contact one of them. But I got to talk to 3 different people that are permanent on that site that deal with their contracting. We did a walk around of the whole campus with one of the guys, and he was talking to all of us about what we do, this and that. And then I told him who I was. And then I had one ask him if so-and-so was there. And he's not here today. He'd be so mad he missed you. Blah, 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 blah. And so I know by the end of the day, he'd already got to tell a guy that, hey, I met the guy that's taking care of you. He was here. I'm a fan of doing site visits. Even if it's a site visit I'm not necessarily going to bid on, I'm still going to do it. Like I said, I'm still going to go out and make the relationship. Now I'll meet the subcontractors, so maybe I'll use them on something else.
Okay, I like that. Oh my goodness, we're definitely doing a part 2. I love all of this because what a savvy approach. When you go to the site visit, you're then able to meet with the people and connect with the government, even if you don't want to bid on it, which is great because you never know what else they want. Then you have a list of subs, which is beautiful to have these lists of subs. I love that. I love this. And then also, an added bonus, y'all can always ask for the list of attendees.
Well, a lot of the bids they put out an addendum of who showed up to a site visit, and they print it out and they give it to you. And I'm like, I just added 8 people to my sub list.
So it's great to get those lists, ask them for the list, state, local, do all of that because you never know. Or it may be canceled. Maybe they canceled it because they didn't have the funding at that point in time, and then they're not going to rebid it for a year. And most people are going to move on. They're not going to go back a year and think about that site visit. They've moved on. So this is phenomenal.
And it makes a difference. And I'm a big fan of the sources sought, getting a name out there. I had one in the last week, and I think I posted it on the Facebook group of somebody reached out to me and say, why didn't you bid on this? We saw you on the sources sought. Then the actual bid came out, and I had to be honest with them. Tell them I didn't meet all the requirements you had. And it was a diehard requirement. It was for drones. And it was, all your pilots had to have so many hours of flying on this type of drone on the day you submitted your bid. And I responded back to them. I said, because they reached out to me via email, said, why didn't you bid? And I responded back. I said that I had to, I couldn't, without lying to you, I couldn't submit a bid in good faith. I can meet all of here's the requirement that held me up. I said, I could meet that by your September start time, but I couldn't meet it by your July deadline. I said, we don't have time to get all the pilots, all the hours they need on those drones, because that's not what we're flying now. And I happen to be a drone pilot as well, that's licensed. And I went and got licensed because of a bid, by the way. I'm all in. But it was one of those. But there again, I had done that sources sought 2 months ago, and they reached out to me 2 weeks ago and said, why didn't you bid?
But the thing is, this is very common.
Yeah.
It is common because then they're asked, why didn't any small businesses bid, or why didn't the small business bid? So then they're like, I don't know. They submitted a sources sought. So it's great that you brought that up, because it is the case. Like, I can see the pros and cons of why they made the decision that they did, but that's great, because I'm very well aware of the different nuances that go into being able to operate drones. So that's great. But then who knows? Maybe change the requirement. Maybe they don't.
I'm hoping they didn't get anybody. I'm hoping it's going to get reposted, because by then my guys will be ready. And it's a 5-year bid for the Department of the Interior. It's a 5-year contract. People flying every week.
Yeah, and the USDA at one point, they were a big procurer of drones.
And everybody is right now. Right now, the drones are so difficult to get into. Drone manufacturers can't keep up with the demand from the government now, much less private citizens. I've seen multiple bid or solicitations out recently that are asking for thousands of drones on each one. And a lot of the drone manufacturers, especially the American made drone manufacturers, they're bidding direct. If it doesn't have a set aside, they're bidding direct, and they don't want to talk to us.
Makes sense. You can't blame.
Absolutely. It's a business. But if we get one that's going to be from an organization that decides that it has to be a set aside so they can meet some goals, hey, we're all going to get a shot at that. It should be some good ones.
Wow. I'm loving this. James, how can people reach out to you? I'm just blown away by the diversity of what you're going after. And I hope the rest of you are as inspired and revved up as I am.
You got it. People can reach me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn. And my user symbol for something is either JWalk2515, which was my military MOS, or just James Walk, WALK. LinkedIn, it'll show my company name. Most recent company is Blue Falcon Services. That's my DBA, because I'm not even an LLC with the government. I'm a DBA. I went quick and fast. That's right. I went quick and fast, and they accepted me, no problem.
There we go. And you're in the free Facebook group, and I'll make sure that we have the link down for that. So check that out. And so everywhere you see James Walk, you're going to find James. Please reach out.
Yes, please.
Please keep us posted, not only in the Facebook group. Please promise to come back for a second interview.
Anytime you want. I've gotten so much from you and the group that I fully intend to give back as long as I'm doing this.
Oh, well, I'm blown away. Like I said, I'm so appreciative of you, for this beautiful interview. And for everyone here, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Keep coming back. Remember, everything is possible. Until next time.